Yay. We're back. It is Wednesday, Wellness Wednesday, on the third day of the JumpStart Challenge. Welcome back. I'm Teresa Bassett. I get to be our guide for this JumpStart Challenge. And this is an exciting week, guys, because this starts out, really kicks off a very valuable 90-day sprint of productivity and progress for you. Should you choose to embrace this mission or this opportunity, I'm pretty excited for you to start this wave of momentum and keep experiencing momentum in your business and in your life, moving towards the targets that really matter to you, because that is what really fires me up. At the end of the day, I love progress. This whole growth mindset that we talked about yesterday. I don't know I don't know that I really chose it. I think it chose me. But I started reading copious amounts of personal and professional literature, going to events. I've been doing this since I was, I don't know, 12 or 13 years old, and have probably read close to over 3,000 books. I just love learning so much. I used to be the kid that would ride my bike to the library, and my backpack the zipper would almost break because I couldn't zip it closed with all the books bulging off. And I remember the librarian saying to me, Teresa, you can come back. And I had to just look at her and laugh, because it's true. I was trying to fit so many in my backpack. I was literally going to bust the thing open. The backpack would sit out from my back. I could barely get the straps on it because it was so filled with books. But you know what? That I came by honestly. My mother was a teacher. My dad is a lifelong learner. And we just, I grew up in a household that valued learning and curiosity, and education. And I soak it up like a sponge. And so hopefully some of that is coming out in value to you today. That is my goal, to give back to an amazing, remarkable community of go-givers, go-getters that have constantly fed me sort with inspiration, golden nuggets, best practices. I can't even tell you, I became an entrepreneur in 2006. Formally left my corporate job. It was just one of the scariest leaps that I'd ever taken. On one hand, it was also simultaneously one of the most exhilarating, exciting leaps that I ever took, because I had no idea where it was going to go, but I really felt like that was, it was a God wink moment. Like, I really felt called to leave the safety nest of my day gig, and start my own thing. And so, since then, can I say I've never looked back? Well, I don't think that's fair to say, because of course, as a single mom, there were moments where it was like, really, can I afford to be self-employed? There were definitely moments, and I've had lots of hang-ups and bang-ups along the path. So, the path has not been, paved with rose petals. I'm sure your entrepreneurial journey, if you're in business for yourself, hasn't either. In fact, I wrote another book about that called The Rebounding Revolution, and that is also on Amazon. And again, the proceeds from that book also go to my partnership with Children's Cup and supporting the building of this well in Africa. But, my first book was actually about failures and setbacks and how to get back up. We could have a whole challenge just talking about resiliency. And I do think that it is an appropriate topic, kind of woven in. Today is Mojo Day, and we started with motion. We got in motion, 20 minutes of vigorous exercise. I keep logging in points for my fitness team. I know I'm going to have to take it up a notch in this first 30 days, especially as I get my triathlon training plan in place. I'm still kind of quietly asking myself if I'm crazy. But I know that I need something to hold me accountable to a more vigorous level. And it is something that hasn't let go of me. So I'm going to keep saying yes and keep showing up. I hope you're saying yes and showing up for yourself in terms of motion, because your energy is absolutely linked to your emotional, mental state, which is absolutely linked to the kinds of connections that you have with the people who need what you offer in this world. And so this is a sales challenge, but it is starting with your energy, right? And today we're actually going to take it, we're going to cross over into the connecting area. But we started with motion. We talked about mindset and the mental game yesterday, which is so important, embracing that growth mindset. I could literally talk about that for a whole week as well, because of course that history of hangups and bangups, that resiliency, that's part of that, right? Is like seeing yourself show up in the face of adversity, and how do you handle that, right? And that is so important. So there's a lot there, but believing that you can change, believing that progress is possible, that if you don't like the default zones that you have and what they lead to in terms of predictable results, that you get to choose something different. And that simply starts with being aware of maybe where your limiting behaviors and beliefs are, and maybe where your default zones are. What is your thermostat set on? And is that ultimately where you want it to be set for the next chapter? And I think that we all get an opportunity to set and reset, and experience and then examine the experience. We get a chance to be remarkably self-aware and ask ourselves where we want to go with this. And today is a perfect day to cross over into Mojo. So Mojo, right, is all about the swagger, right? It's all about the posture. It's all about your confidence. And yes, motion and mindset all goes into that, right? If you feel strong and confident in your body, physically, if you feel strong, and mentally, if you feel strong, if you've got a good emotional framework about how you're showing up in the world, how you want to show up in the world, you've made some really conscious decisions about what that's going to look like. So many people are on, they're just on default mode, right? They're not asking themselves, these questions, but because you're showing up for this challenge, I already know that you're the kind of person that is seeking something else. I already know that you're the kind of person that believes there is something better available to you, just by the simple fact that you embrace the challenge. You're showing up here today, you're watching the replays, and you're looking for these chances to up level in your own life and business. And sales is the ultimate emotional barometer for your organization. I will tell you, just like we talked about on day one, and I talk to my business development team about this all the time. Like, we are the emotional leaders of this organization here at the Diamond Group, right? When sales are up, everybody's up. When sales is down, and I mean emotionally up, I don't mean revenue up. But when sales is, feeling optimistic, when we're moving towards the target, when we have a plan and we're tweaking the plan and iterating the plan and moving forward, then the organization can feel that lift, and they take their cues from us. And when we're stuck or stagnant or frustrated or stalled, when we don't have that mojo, then they also feel that, and they take their cues from us in that. And so we have a remarkable responsibility, but also simultaneously a huge opportunity, because sales drives the bus. we get to, instead of the tail wagging the dog, we get to lead into the glorious unknown, right? We get to embrace the blue horizon of opportunity, and we get to create our own economy. So that's what we're here to do today together. And I think that confidence, that posture, has more than just motion and mindset involved with it. And here's where I want to go with this, because I was giving this a lot of thought last night, and I was like, what gives you your posture and your confidence? And partly confidence comes from competence, right? Like, when you know that you're good at something, when you know that you know that you know that you know that you bring something to the table, that certainty, that posture of knowingness adds to your confidence, right? Some of your swagger comes from from being able to own that positioning. And so I guess I want to take a little different approach. You might think that Mojo is all about hype in the headspace and just trumping yourself up so that you can feel good and go out there and conquer the world. I don't think that's really sustainable. Honestly, I don't think it's possible. And that's why I encourage people in the sprint to really look at their targets and make sure their targets are set from a heart space, not just a head space. Because from a head space, you can use willpower and discipline, but it's only going to go so far. So you can say to yourself, well, I really want to lose 20 pounds. But then the minute your heart goes, oh my gosh, I really love that chocolate cake and I want some of that chocolate cake, you're going to find the reasons to justify eating the cake, right? Your emotional center is what's going to catapult you into decision making, even at a action by action level, even though logically you have to set the GPS. So it's important to do both of these things, to recognize the emotional center and the logical root of these decisions. And I think that exists in the confidence department too, in the Mojo department, right? You have to not just trump yourself up, rah, 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 hype yourself up to go out and, make the sale, right? Get it. It's not about getting anything. It's about giving. It's about connecting. It's about sharing. It's about really being a resource for people with whatever product or service that you bring to the table. And so I want to actually take a step back for a minute with the mindset piece in mind and think about the root of that confidence, and the root of that confidence coming from competence. And I want you to write this down because I want you to look at your packaging. I want you to look at your positioning. I want you to look at your pricing. I want you to look at your process, even your proposal format. If you have a consultative sell, if you're offering a service, and this could be anything from, a prosthodontist laying out a treatment plan, or a wellness practitioner, to a marketing agency or a sales organization or a financial advisor or a wealth management advisor, or it's really any kind of service-based business. The process that you take people through as a trusted advisor, where you're laying out your products or services, are super important in a service-based situation. It's not just a one fell swoop, like, oh, I'm going onto Amazon and I'm shopping for the widget that helps me do the thing. And then, oh, I found the widget. It does the thing. I feel fairly confident it's going to help me do the thing. And so I buy the thing, right? I need the floor cleaned. I looked for the widget that helps me clean floors. I bought the mop. Amazon's sending me the mop. In a service-based business or organization, you've got to do a lot more explaining, a lot more trust building, a lot more advocacy, a lot more partnering, right, in that business, because this is not a small thing. This is a considered purchase. This is a considered move. This isn't just a purchase. Actually, it's a game changer for many people. It's entering into a relationship with a service provider. And that's a big deal. It's a big deal for me. It's a big deal for people. And so it's not just about the price tag attached to it. It's about, do I know you, like you enough, trust you enough to want to enter into this ongoing relationship with you? And I think that you really have to look at your packaging, your positioning, your pricing, and your process. And many times process is the thing that people leave off of that. And I want you to step back from the product or the service for a minute. And I want you to think about the clients, the customers, or the patients that you're trying to connect with. And I want you to think for a minute, not about what you're offering and getting them to understand what you're offering. Because so many times from a sales position, that's where we end up being in convincing and persuading mode. You guys, we're not in the convincing and persuading business. We're not. We're in the discovery, figuring out what people need and connecting with them where they're at, and then figuring out how to guide them to a resource that will help them. And maybe that resource is you, And maybe that resource is you, but not right yet. And maybe that resource is, Susie Q down the street that offers something that you don't have, right? That you can help guide them to you. If you have their best interest in mind, then it's not about you at all. It's not about you, right? And so step back to think about that customer, client, and patient, and not what you offer them and how you can get them to see the value of that. But how do you want to make them feel? How do you want to make them feel? Right? Your confidence, your mojo is going to come from having a very clear, confident process that you're guiding them on that helps them feel the way you want to make them feel. So let me give you an example. And if anybody has anything in the comments, I just saw it, Lynn. I saw your wave. So good to see you, Tiffany. Yes, absolutely true. The many, many books that I've read have definitely contributed to my writing. And in fact, I write with books all around me because I use those books all the time for reference. So thank you. And, I would love to hear about how these pieces contribute to your process and your confidence in what you have to bring to the marketplace. So when you're thinking about sales, when you're thinking about positioning, packaging, positioning, pricing, process, the process that you need to take people through is you're a guide. You're not a salesperson, you're a guide, right? And as a guide, you light the path and you lead them on a path that is actually all about them, not about you at all. And so in doing that, first, I want you to step back from your product or your service. And I want you to think about ultimately, how do you want to make those people feel when they're around you? How do you want to make them feel when they leave you? How do you want to make them feel when they're working with you? Right? If you're a massage therapist, how do you want them to feel when they walk into your office? How do you want them to feel when they leave your office? How do you want them to feel? Do you want them to feel open to talk to you and to share what's going on for them? Do you want them to feel supported? Do you want them to feel excited? Do you want them to feel like they're surrounded with the right people? Do you want them to feel at ease? Do you want them to feel like they have a village of support? Right? That's one of the things that I identified in what we do. I want our business owners to come alongside the Diamond Group as a partner, and I want them to feel equipped and encouraged and emboldened. I want them to feel surrounded with a power team of support, a sales and marketing team down the hall, right, that they didn't have before, right? And so I crafted our process, our sales process, to start that relationship from long before they ever say yes or know anything about the Diamond Group. And I want them to know that we care, right? That's the most important thing. So you craft your process to show where your heart is. How do you want to make people feel? And then look at the path. What is the process you're taking people through? And sometimes that process is strictly digital. Right? That's a series of pages or landing pages, clicking through to another page or a form, and then they reach out for an appointment or they show up in the office. Sometimes that's a hybrid, right? Sometimes they come into, they see a digital ad, they go to your website, they make an appointment, they walk into your office for their first dental cleaning, then you tell them all about what you do, right? And sometimes that's digital and in person. Sometimes that's all in person, right? So, like in a car dealership, someone walks on the lot and all that from the minute the person drives up, that's all in-person process. And again, though, it comes back to how do you want to make people feel? Do you want to be the guy that walks up to them and, is instantly like in their face and putting a lot of pressure on them? What do you want? What are you looking for? And then of course people have the quintessential response, oh, I'm just looking. I'm just looking, which is the famous car lot response. Yeah, everybody comes on the car lot just looking, right? Because what you're trying to say is step back, Jack. I don't want to be sold anything. I don't want you to be in the convincing and persuading business. I want to take a look at what's out here, right? And so you're trying to set some healthy boundaries for yourself so that you can look. And this is a considered purchase. This is a high price tag. You know, a car is like the second most expensive thing people will typically buy in their lifetime. And so they want to think about it, right? But if I was I wanted to jumpstart sales and I'm in the car business, I want to step back and I want to think about, how do I want to make people feel when they come on my car lot? How do I want to make people feel when they go to my digital doorstep, to my website? How do I want to make people feel when I pick up the phone, right? It applies to any kind of business, you guys. It doesn't matter if you're in HVAC, if you're a roofing contractor, it doesn't matter if you're a chiropractor, a lawyer, a dentist, a doctor, a salesperson for building materials. It doesn't matter what line of work you're in. It really doesn't. Because what matters is how you take control of how you're connecting with people and how you show that you care. And ultimately, if what you care about is your numbers, if that's what you really care about, is getting the sale, getting them, they're going to know that. They're going to know that because you've made your process about them, right? It's all about saying the right things so that you can convince and persuade them to do what you want them to do. And I'm going to tell you that is a very limited, it's a very surface level way to approach selling. So if you do nothing else, take nothing else away from the sales jumpstart, yes, get in motion. Yes, get your mind in the game, but let's find the true source of your confidence and make you a really competent connector. Let's make you a really confident, competent connector that builds trust and becomes a trusted advisor to walk alongside people, right? And really help them with a change in their business or in their life that they are struggling with. They have a challenge, they have a problem to solve, and you may or may not be the right solution. And you need to find out what's going on for them. You need to discover what's going on for them. And you need a process, you need a path to walk so that you can do that. And then you need an easy way to tell them how to interact with you, how to work with you. Okay, you've walked me on this path. Now I need to know, how can I easily work with you? And that's where packaging and pricing comes into play, right? That's where positioning comes into play. I need to know how, I need simple choices, right? They say that the average person is completely inundated and overwhelmed with decision fatigue. Right? Well, McDonald's dollar menu, if you go to McDonald's right now and drive over there, how many things are on the dollar menu? Probably 6. I don't know. I'm guessing. But it ain't 27. I can tell you that. Right? And it isn't 27 because they know people don't need 27 choices of how to work with them. They need 6 great dollar menu choices so that they can easily be guided to the value that they're looking for, right? That's what they need. Yes, Lynn, I know that you are a confident connector because I've watched you in action and I think you're amazing. And I know you even teach this to groups and share this with chambers of commerce and the people that you're connecting with. And it's so important, right? Because it's so easy to make our process about us, but in reality, it's not about us at all, is it? It's really about them. And so we need to get that across, right? Well, McDonald's, it's all about loving it. Well, what do they want you to love? They don't just want you to love the food. They want you to love the process of driving up to the drive-thru and ordering something very quick and then getting it. They want you to love the journey with McDonald's, which starts the minute you drive up to that menu. And have you noticed that over the years, McDonald's hasn't added extra displays? They didn't start out with their thing and then, add 27 more things so that they now have you drive up to the drive-thru and now you have 4 menus to look at. And I'm doing this and my head is spinning. No, they haven't done that. They've been in business plenty of time. They can add a million things to their menu. They don't do that. Why? Because they want you to love the clarity When you drive up to the drive-thru, they want you to love the process of working with them, not just getting your food. They want it to be easy. They want it to be fast. They want it to be right? So how is your process positioned? Is it easy to work with you? Is it good? Is it a good process? Is it a good path? Is it an easy package? Is it the right price? Are you positioning it for the people you really want to connect with, or are you positioning it for everybody? Right? If we're making our package or product for everybody, then we're actually making it for nobody. Right? If I package my marketing services for everybody on the planet who needs marketing and sales, then ultimately I'm just diluting the value because nobody looks at it and sees themselves in the process. Right? So positioning is a really big part of that too. And that really comes down to knowing your target market. We call them personas, but knowing who you're selling to, right? So the Mojo comes from knowing it, getting it, positioning yourself, really understanding the value that you bring the marketplace and being able to confidently bring that to the table. And people want to know how much you care more than they want to know how much you know. You know, if I'm an HVAC, if I'm selling HVAC and you come out to my house, you know, yes, I want to know that you are in touch with how miserable it is to be in 85 degrees heat and I'm trying to put my baby down to sleep and it's a sweat fest in here. I don't want to hear about, you know, for 20 minutes about the intricate details of a Trane air conditioning unit. I think it's wonderful that you know that much about Trane air conditioning units, but what I want to know is that you care that I'm sweating to death while I'm trying to put my baby to sleep, right? I want you to give me a package, a price. I want you to make the process easy for me, right? So that I can engage your services, and I want to know how much you care about me getting my solution, right? So I really want to urge you guys, you know, to, yes, stay in motion. Yes, adopt a growth mindset, but step back for a minute from your products or your services and think to yourself, who is my perfect customer, client, or patient? And how can I craft a process, a path, so that I instill the trust in them so that they know me, like me, and trust me enough to link arms with me, to partner with me in this solution, right? That's the magic. And so I don't want just a flurry of hype and cheerleading. I want the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that I want you to know that you know that you know that you know that you're really darn good at what you do and you really have a heart of service and you want to connect with people that you really can help. That quiet confidence and knowing will come out in the way you ask questions, in the way you craft this path, in your it's integrity, right? It's not just excitement, enthusiasm, right? It's integrity. And I think that, and then you will naturally speak passionately. You will naturally speak with enthusiasm because you know that you really can help them. You really can help them. And you're not just inundating them with a bunch of features. People don't want to know the features, they need to know the benefits. They need to know what's in it for them. They don't want to know what 27 things are included in your package. They want to know why the 27 things matter to them, right? How do those benefits equate to their problem? Right? That is so important. And to really touch, you know, it's a gut check. It's a little bit of a gut check because if we want to jumpstart sales, which is what this 5 days is all about, right? It's a gateway, it's a doorway into the next 90 days of potentially selling and sharing and connecting with that kind of confidence at a level you never have before, right? But to do that, you know, in day 3, I'm going to encourage you for your homework to sit back, be still, and ask yourself, who do you want to connect with? What's the path for connecting with you? And is it easy to work with you? And if it's not easy enough process to work with you, then let's take some design thinking off the shelf. Design thinking is kind of bird's eye view, right? How would I craft this? How would I design this so that it's easier to work with me? How would I make it so that I can make them feel like, more supported? How can I make them feel more excited? How could I make them feel those things you want them to feel, right? Design a process so that they feel the things that you want them to feel. Because if you do that, you can't lose. You guys, you can't lose because it's not going to be about your widget. It's not going to be about the features of your package and your offering. It's going to be about the service you're really bringing to the table and the benefit to them. And that's what you need to understand. You need to understand, where are they? How can you meet them where they're at? And how does what you have to offer meet them on that road and take them to the next level? I want to encourage you today to see your source of mojo as something different that maybe you hear out there with other sales coaches, honestly, or other, personal or professional development pieces, right? It's not about tricky, slick closing statements. Yes, it can be helpful as a sales professional to understand psychology of the sale and to have some key phrases in your back pocket so that you can help people institute changes in their life. But it's more about, if you do nothing else, just get really good at that path, that process that you want to take them on, and ask great questions on the path. For me and my team, our path is literally 3 minutes of us and 27 minutes of them. I always tell my team, like, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Right. And I remember being on that car lot we talked about day one with that 20 car month, and Vinny, the lot lizard that put out this challenge in front of me and showed me this opportunity. I remember him vividly in the car dealership because he was the one guy that would bring people in the dealership and he would sit down with them for like 25 minutes, 30 minutes before he'd ever take them out to show a car. And when he would sit down at that table, I'll never forget this because my sales manager actually took me aside. And this was the first time, you guys, that I was really in a true sales environment. And so I just learned so much. I was only there 6 months, but I just learned so much. And I used that springboard of selling cars to selling houses. And that's a whole nother story. But he pointed out, watch Vinny from a distance, he said. How much is he talking versus how much is he listening, Teresa? And it was like this big light bulb moment, right? This aha moment. Vinny wasn't telling them all about the features of any car. In fact, he hadn't even identified a car yet. They hadn't looked at anything. He was sitting down at a table and he was saying, how many people are in your family? Where do you like to take your car? What kinds of features are you looking for? Oh, you need a third row seat. Oh, you've got a baby on the way. Oh, well, where do you like to go on family vacations? Is it the beach? Is it the mountains? Oh, you need a hatchback. Oh, you carry groceries. Oh, you need the tailgate with the thing where you wave your foot underneath it. He was learning about them. Right. And so he would sit at a table, and the large majority of his path, his process, was asking great questions so that he could really get inside their experience. And as a result, their struggles, right, their opportunities, their challenges. Right. And so that was such a powerful example of the right way to sell, the better way to sell, the better way to connect. That confident connection came from knowing that he was really doing a good job learning about them. And then as a result of that learning, matching them to a solution that really made sense. I mean, at the end of the day, do you want to sell somebody, convince and persuade them to buy your thing? Or do you want to know, like, go to sleep knowing that you really help people take a move, take a step towards, something remarkably better in their health, in their business, with their money, with their family. Like, what a sense of satisfaction knowing that you helped people take a step towards something remarkably better. That's what selling and sharing is all about. That's why it's also one of the highest reward activities in the marketplace. It's also one of the highest risk, right? We take a lot of rejection on the chin. We have a lot of people say no. I will say that rejection goes up the more you're convincing and persuading, right? Every single person that you meet wants to tell them about them. They want to tell you. They want to tell you what their challenges are. How many people right here today know that if you ask people what's going on for them, they will be happy to tell you what's going on for them? Yeah. Yeah. They're going to be happy to tell you because people don't slow down to listen to other people very much, right? They want to know how much you care, not how much you know. So today, take a step back in your homework with your Mojo and look at your packaging, your positioning, your pricing, the path and the process that you're leading people on, and ask yourself, how do I want my clients, customers, and patients to feel? And then design that path in such a way with questions that really help you understand them. Because most of you would probably say, I want my people to feel like they can trust me. I want people to feel like they can lean in to my service. I want people to feel like they're well cared for. I want people to know that I care about them. Probably if I could hear you right now, I would hear some of those things. I relate to that. That's how I want to make people feel too, right? And so step back from that and then craft a list of questions that really help you walk that path with them so that you really understand. Now, I'm putting together a sales masterclass, and I can actually teach you an order to those questions on that path so that it really takes like sales 101 to sales 104 overnight. But there's too much to teach, and I can't do it here in a JumpStart challenge format. So I'm spinning off a sales masterclass. I have actually mentioned doing that at 2 other JumpStart challenges and have had that on my to-do list, and it has not gotten to done. This time I'm going to take it off the to-do list and get it done. And so that is actually one of the things in my other category around my own sprint and challenge this fall is I really want to, give you an opportunity to learn some of these finer points in sales. And I think that that's really exciting and something that we can do together. So super happy to be here at day 3. We've still got a lot of week left, guys. We've got money we're going to talk about tomorrow and momentum on Friday. And there are going to be some prizes and bonuses for those who post and participate and show up live on Friday as well. And I'm excited about that. There is no big sales pitch at the end of this, so just watch the replays at your convenience. I think the technological gods that be will let us keep these replays up for 30 days or so. And so that's great. That'll get you off to a good start in this sprint. Do mark your milestone days. I don't think I gave you that title yesterday, but the end of the first leg, 30 days, first leg, October 23rd, that's a milestone day. The next one is November 23rd and then December 23rd. And Lynn, I know it's your birthday, October 23rd. I did get your message. I'm so excited about that. We're actually not going to have a broadcast that day, so you're not going to miss out on anything. But I do want you to mark the milestone day in your calendar. And what I like to do on milestone days is kind of reflect and review on what you've accomplished for the 30 days of the first leg. And then treat yourself to something nice, right? Treat yourself to something nice. So on milestone days, I treat them as mini princess days is what I call them. And I do something nice for myself. I typically take myself out to lunch somewhere beautiful that really fills my love bucket. And sometimes I'll even buy myself like a, inexpensive piece of jewelry or a piece of clothing or something that makes me feel nice. Because it sometimes I even go for a massage or something, but it's a reward It's simultaneously a reward and an encouragement, right? Because I'm looking back at the 30 days and going, well, I'm not done sprinting yet, but I'm patting myself a little bit on the back and giving myself a reward for the 30 days of focus, of focused, intentional energy that I've put towards getting the kinks out of my garden hose, being intentional with my actions, creating an amazing amount of productivity, and really sprinting towards my next best chapter. And so I think that we all deserve those moments. And I'm historically bad at this. And I'm always focused on what's next, what's next, what's next. And so, actually, as part of the sprint methodology that I talk about in the Up Level book, that you can find on Amazon, we talk about milestone days and the importance of them because, I literally had to program them into the system so that I would take a minute to breathe and acknowledge my progress. I don't know if you're like me, but I'm probably my own worst enemy. I mean, I'm my hardest critic. I'm absolutely the one, nobody outside of me is saying, you're not doing enough. You're not going fast enough. Nobody's saying that. I'm saying that inside. Right. And so a lot of times if you're a high performer, if you're a racehorse, like you've got an internal drive. And sometimes that means we're focused too much on the gap and not enough on the gain. And Dan Sullivan actually wrote a great book about this, The Gap and the Gain. And I took a lot away from that. But basically, in that book, what he's saying is don't focus all your energy on the gap. Spend some time focusing some energy on the gain, right? And that's what those milestone days are designed to do. So design a milestone day that makes you feel good. Maybe going out to lunch isn't your thing. Maybe it's something different. Schedule it. Like literally schedule it. Lynn, that's going to be your birthday. I think you're going to be with your kids. That's awesome. Do something extra nice for yourself that day, right? But do it also because you know that you made this 30 days count. And then do it again November 23rd, and then do it again December 23rd. Cruising into the holidays for the fall sprint has its own special nuances because the holidays can get very chaotic. They can get very busy. They can get very overwhelming and sometimes even happy, stressful, right? Like we're happy it's Christmas, but it's also like, or Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, but it's also like, oh my gosh, we've got all these family commitments all of a sudden, and we have this visiting, and we have this decorating, and we have this gifting, and we have this cooking, and we have this eating, and all of this stuff, and it can have its own bag of stuff with it. So very important to be intentional, to get ahead of that wave, to reward yourself for your intentionality. You guys, this sprint, the fall one in particular, has absolutely been my most momentous commitment. Over the course of the 3 years that I've been practicing this methodology, I have seen the most impact from the fall sprint, I would say, if I had to choose, because it always sets up January and February for this tremendous start. In fact, so much so that my team is like, oh my gosh, it's December 10th. Can you stop selling already? What you're going to see is you start planting seeds, nurturing seeds, watering seeds faster, right? You're doing more and more and more in the sprint. And then the wave of momentum is going to start turning into reaping some of those benefits in November, December, and possibly sooner. Of course, depends on how long your sales cycle is. We have a fairly long, 3 to 6 week sales cycle. And so we have a little bit of delayed reward, a delayed harvest on the planting of our sales seeds. So I just encourage you to get started, whatever imperfect action you have in front of you today. If you don't know where to start with any of this homework, just start with the 20 minutes of motion. Layer on top of that the growth mindset and ask yourself, right, where do I maybe have some limiting beliefs? Maybe where do I have some stinking thinking or some things that are standing in my way, right? Do I believe I can change? I'd start identifying, priming the pump for those targets. You want a physical target, a financial target, and an other, and you want them to be remarkably clear and specific. If you didn't get a chance to listen to the replay from yesterday about specificity and the Google search bar of your mind and how important that is to activate the RAS system, in your brain, go back and listen to it. Because without that specificity, if you put in muddy search request, you're going to get muddy results. If you just say, I want more sales, that's not specific enough. It's not clear enough. If you say, I just want to exercise more, I just want, it's way too broad, right? It's way too fuzzy. If you put in fuzzy requests, you're going to get fuzzy answers. Fuzzy questions, fuzzy answers. They say the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. And I totally believe that. And that spills right over into this process and path we're talking about, and asking really good questions so that you get to know the clients, customers, and patients that you want to work with the most. So I'm super excited. We're going to cruise into Money Day. The money thing is interesting because this is where a lot of our limiting beliefs will crop up. So we're going to talk about some of those. If we have price objections inside, deep down price objections, right? This comes back to that confidence piece. When you really know that you know that you know that you know the value you're bringing to the marketplace, you won't have trouble asking for money in return for that value. But if your confidence is wobbly, or if you have limiting beliefs around money that make it hard for you to support that posture and ask for money, then that's going to possibly crimp your sales effectiveness, right? You're going to have a hard time asking. FaceTime and asking for the sale are the two things, hand in hand, the lead measures that drive sales. If you're not getting FaceTime, and I mean, FaceTime can be in person or digitally. If you're not getting FaceTime and as a result, you're not asking for the money from enough people, then you aren't making sales. Like, these are the lead measures. You need to measure FaceTime, and you need to measure how many times you're asking for it. And then I can tell you predictably, probably to some extent, what your conversion is on that and what you're selling. So it's a path, you guys. It's a process. And if you really want to jumpstart sales, you'll start treating it like a process, and you'll start looking at all the pieces that add into it. So I believe in you. I'm with you and for you 100% of the way. And I'm super excited to be on the journey with you. And I can't wait for the next 2 days. So money and momentum, here we come. But as always, I hope you guys have a super, super day. Please support one another by posting and participating in any channel that you choose. It's so gratifying to me. I'm still getting messages behind the scenes, but I'm still not seeing a lot of you jump out with video, or sharing your journey with other people. And you guys, this isn't about me. And this isn't just about you. You're a part of a community that is gaining momentum together and challenging one another and holding each other accountable and capable. And so I would love it, if you would jump out and post and participate, because I'll tell you what, other people here will benefit from that. Right. And so even if you've been sprinting with me for years, jump out and share. If you are brand new to this and you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, go back and watch the replays and jump out and share. It doesn't matter where you are in the process. What matters is that you have the willingness to be vulnerable and come out of the shadows. One of the things that's so tempting with social media is just to vicariously live and lurk. Right? Like, we live through other people's experiences, and then we just hang back in the background. Let's get out front and let's add and contribute to other people's experiences, because I guarantee you have so much to share and to teach the people around you. They need to hear from you too. And it's also encouraging to me. Selfishly, it's encouraging to me because I know a lot of these stories behind the scenes, the businesses that have been created, the properties that have been purchased, the moves that have been made. And those really do fill my love bucket. Nina was reaching out to me yesterday, Facebook messaging me, and Nina's been with me since the very first JumpStart challenge. And it's so fun. And I was telling her, she's my JumpStart buddy for life now. She can't get rid of me. But those kinds of experiences. And I know that Nina has added to other people's journeys. And so I'm sure she will share with you. I know she's been remarkably busy, but your stories matter to me and to other people that are jumpstarting with you. So please share. I love it. So I will see you back here tomorrow at noon for Money Day. And in the meantime, I hope that you get a lot of value from stepping back from sales for a minute to really consider, your packaging, your positioning, your pricing, and the process, the path that you're walking with people. Because I know that when you get this dialed in and you get a lot of confidence around this, the mojo is just natural. It just flows naturally from that place because you can't help it, right? You know, without a shadow of a doubt, the value that you're bringing to the marketplace. And so you can't help but share that with passion and meet people where they're at. So thank you, Lynn. I hope you have an amazing day too. You are extraordinary. And there's a lot of other extraordinary people on here today too, Tiffany included. Lillian, if you're out there, I'm so grateful for you. I'm super excited to keep sprinting together, you guys. So